Alright, we're back working on this thing again. Yesterday the camera ran out of memory, but I got everything back on the front of the engine. I got the belt back on, and I drained the oil. So what I need to do today is change the oil, and before I put the turbocharger back on, I'm going to try to crank it over and get the injector lines bled out, because once I put the turbocharger on there, I don't think I can get on them injector lines in the back. So that's the plan, and hopefully it'll fire up today. Both batteries are pretty much junk, I think, so I don't know if we'll be able to get it to start or not. We'll try. I dropped the wrench in the oil pan. Well, this is the junk that I drained out of it. How thick that is. That was a pain in the butt, but I got the crossover back on. Well, I put oil in it. I'm going to see if I can crank it over. I got a charger on here with a start boost on it. Hopefully that'll crank it over enough. I don't see anything. Still nothing. I'll let the batteries charge up for a little bit. Alright, let's try it again. Oh, there we go. I don't see anything on that. Looks like all of them got fuel coming out. So I'll tighten them up. I guess put the turbocharger back on. Well, we ran into a little snag. I was running the lift pump and I can see fuel dripping underneath, so I followed the leak back and it's coming from right underneath the intake manifold. This relay and switch right here, I put that in because the oil pressure switch controls the lift pump for the fuel, and those oil pressure switches can't handle the amperage, so they go bad all the time. So now I have it where that oil pressure switch turns on that relay, and then the relay handles all the amperage of the pump. And I added that switch so if, when I change the fuel filter, I can just flip the switch and pump fuel up through the new filter. So I had the pump running and there was fuel dripping underneath the truck. So I followed it back and it's dripping right underneath the intake manifold. It's not leaking bad, but since I got it tore down this far, I may as well pull the intake back off. The worst part is this bracket right here on the alternator. That's a pain in the butt, so instead of just pulling the intake manifold off, I got to pull this whole bracket back off too. I'm sure it was leaking for years like that, but since I found it, I may as well fix it. Alright, I got the fuel leak fixed and the intake manifold back on. This tube here's for the heater core, and that aluminum fitting they had in here, it was just crumbling apart. So I'm just going to cut this off and just splice on a little piece of rubber tubing. let's see what happens. I got the exhaust all hooked back up, filled it up with antifreeze. Check it out. I don't know if it'll start or not with the bad batteries. Alright, let's see if she'll fire up. I think she'll go. I'm going to put the front tire back on. Wag it back around. Well, it's all back together and everything looks pretty good. I need to change the oil again tomorrow. I put cheap stuff in it just to flush out any moisture that was in there. And I'll get new batteries for it. It's starting off of these batteries, but they were completely dead over winter. So I'm sure they're junk. I don't want to be left stranded somewhere. So that one there was our biggest problem. You can see where the fire ring blew out. But if you look at this one was blown out too. Just not as bad. I think it always had a blown head gasket since I got it, because it would have a ton of pressure on the cooling system. And even sitting over winter, when I'd go to drive it in the spring, I'd pull the radiator cap off and it would still be under pressure. So everybody said there's no way it's a blown head gasket because it wouldn't hold pressure over the winter for months like that. But I figured something was going on, because every time you would shut it off for a few seconds, you'd hear bubbles going into the coolant overflow tank. But I think this one let go. It was probably August or September. I was driving it and the temperature gauge started acting weird and started blowing a lot more bubbles. And things got real bad after that. It just started blowing all the coolant out of the radiator. But so far it's doing good. It's not blowing any bubbles now.